How's everybody doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I had to do a quick jaunt to Coeur d'Alene today to go to Costco because we're out of cat food and almost out of dog food, which is a 4 hour round trip, not including my time at Costco. So I had to bust out of here early today to make sure I was back in time. So it was fun though.
Can't you order it from Chewy and have it delivered?
It's not the same. So I get the Costco dog food and Chewy doesn't have it. And Costco charges an extra 10 bucks a bag. No, 15 bucks a bag to order it to your house. So I used to buy like 3 or 4 bags at a time. We stock up and then I go like once every few months to Coeur d'Alene. Anyways, I got some other things too because we have company coming into town. So anyways, today is farm tools. So this was one of the requested trainings. I don't know who requested it, but they asked for a demonstration of some of the farming tools. So that's my goal today. I apologize in advance. I don't have anything against any of the other title companies. There's fabulous people at Placer. There's fabulous people at Fidelity. Nothing against any of them. I've just used Old Republic Title now for I don't know, since 2007, however long that is, that's how long I've used the Old Republic Title. I've been with Nicole Cisneros over there since she actually started in the title industry. So we got my original escrow officer went on maternity leave and I got handed off to her, and then the other officer never came back, and I've worked with Nicole ever since. So I'm most familiar, all that to be said, that I'm most familiar with the Old Republic title farming tools, and they're available on your phone as well. So on your phone, number one, you have to meet with in order to get the apps, you have to meet with the rep from Old Republic Title Company, and they'll set you up with them because you need a special password or code. But the app that you use on your phone is called OR Touch. It's right there. It's called OR Touch. They have several apps. One is OR Touch. There's an OR Calc. But the OR Touch is the one that has the farming tools on it. And it's also, you can get access to it on their website. So Old Republic Title Company is ortconline.com. Once you meet with the rep, if you haven't already, they'll create a username and a login for you, which gives you access to the page that I'm on now. Okay, so there's other options on the homepage. I don't know if it'll let me log back out. Let's see.
If you're working with another title company, do they still allow you to utilize this when you set it up?
Yep, they do.
Okay.
So this is what the homepage looks like. Here's the OR Touch Instant Profiles Walking Farms. Click here to log into OR Touch on the web. So that's how you log in. So that's it corresponds, but it just asks for access there. The new rep for the Vacaville area is Sarah Suki, I believe. It was Pamela Radley, but she retired this last year. She just couldn't handle that I had moved away, and so she retired. So that was how she handled with my move. She just said she was done. No, I'm joking. Anyways, so OR Touch. So this is the same as it is on your phone. It's just a little easier to navigate, obviously on a computer because it's a little bigger screen. Just so everybody knows, I do have the chat box open, so I'm keeping an eye on that. I also have the participant tab open, so I can usually catch if you unmute yourself. But don't hesitate to just unmute yourself and be like, wait, Amy, I got a question. So what is the fun of a walking farm? The fun of a walking farm is lots of things. Number one, let's figure out, let's go Vacaville, because I'm not in Vacaville, I can't spell Vacaville, but that's all right. Vacaville, California. Yes, you've got, no, I just want, all right, we're just going to pick that for now. You can plug in a specific address. You can plug in a general, this just pulled up a street. So at least I would get back to town, and then we're going to move out. So let's say that you were thinking about doing a farm. And why would you do a farm? A farm is a great way to market to people. Remember, farm, frequent area of repetitive marketing. It's an acronym, frequent area repetitive marketing. That's a farm. It's not just you're going to go sprinkle water on it and hope that it grows like a farmer. You're actually going to frequent area of repetitive marketing. I would like to add and prospecting. So frequent area of repetitive marketing and prospecting. The number one tool of your farm is going to be the prospecting portion. The faster that you can get in front of people and have conversations with people, the faster that you're going to be able to build relationships and see results. So let's go. So I'm just dragging the map around right now, trying to decide. But let's say that I decided, man, Amy talks about this farm thing all the time. I should probably get on the ball and do a farm. But you're like, where to start? There's lots of options, right? So you could do like around your house. That's always a good one because then it's a really good way to introduce yourself. Some of the neighbors you already know. Other ones you can be like, oh, I'm your neighbor over there on Weatherly Way, right? So it's a really good way to introduce yourself. You build rapport already because you're a neighbor. But you're not stuck to your neighborhood, so don't feel like you are. You can do it anywhere. You want to make sure your farm is in an area where you want to do business, an area where you're comfortable walking and spending time, because your goal is to spend time in your farm, to participate, to interact with the people on your farm. If you're like, man, all of my neighbors that I know in this neighborhood, they're all jerks. Like, go somewhere else. Okay, you're not stuck there. So go someplace else. Pick a neighborhood that you would like to do business in. Okay, there's no wrong or right reason to do a farm. It could be like a high-end neighborhood. It could be an entry level. It could be middle. There's bonuses. There's like pluses and minuses to whatever neighborhood you choose. So just know that. Your ultimate goal, they always tell you that when you select a farm, it should be an area of about 400 homes, ideally, that has a turnover rate of about 4 to 6%, somewhere in that range. Now, I recommend that when you start a farm, that you start with a smaller chunk, like 100 homes, that you be consistent in that frequent and repetitive marketing and prospecting on those 100 homes for like 3 months, like a quarter. Once you've been consistent in that for a quarter, for 3 months solid, then you could add another 100 homes and then chunk it off like that. So by the end of a year, you would have 400 homes, but you're starting with 100 and the goal of adding 100 each quarter. If you slack off and you aren't consistent, then you stay at that number until you are consistent, because you're just going to become more inconsistent the more overwhelm you. And to me, a low turnover rate isn't such a bad idea. And people will probably say she's giving you such bad information. That's all right. I'm all right with that. I usually give you good information. So I feel like every once in a while, if I give you bad information, it's okay. But here's my thought process there. If I'm in a neighborhood that doesn't have a ton of turnover over the last year or two, then what's the potential that it's going to start having a turnover next year? It's higher. It's higher, right? Because you've got people that haven't moved. Statistics tell us that people move every like 7 to 10 years was the last one I heard, which was probably a year and a half ago. So if you've got a slow turnover rate, chances are you're moving towards a period where that neighborhood's going to experience some turnover. Not only that, but you can start building relationships with people and then get referrals as well. So we're not limited to just the homes in that neighborhood. So if you're like, Amy, how do we figure out what the turnover rate is? Well, ultimately the turnover rate is how many homes are there and how many sold in the last 12 months. That's your turnover rate. And you're like, how do I figure that out? Well, this app helps you do that. So here's what we do. We're going to go in here and go walking farm. So I just clicked on the walking farm. We're going to click new farm right there, or you could access save farm. So you can save these as well. It took me back to this area over here. So Spindrift, Vacaville. Sorry, I was trying to get back to that neighborhood. So I had to remember a street that was in that neighborhood. All right, so there is that. So we first locate it after we hit walking farm. It's got new farm up here, and then we're going to find it. And then we're going to click on this pencil, and that's going to allow us to draw a border around the houses that we want included in our farm. So we just click, kind of like you do on the map search on berries. So we're just going around the houses to the road. And, the line segments can be short. Oh, is it going to only let me do so many? Let's see here. Maybe oh, okay, hold on. Let me go back so I can do less, because it seems to not like my number of dots that I made. I was being too exact. That's right. All right. Boom. Boom. It doesn't like this bottom corner. There we go. All right. And we're gonna come over here to this, and we're gonna go with the natural boundaries and connect the last dot. So once you connect the last dot, see it turns blue. So that's the area that it's gonna look at. From there, we can come back up. All right, then we're gonna hit filter. So the little filter thing, I think, is what we hit next. Oh, here you can filter out if any, but we just want the whole farm, so we're gonna hit save. So that's if you're looking for a specific bedroom, bathroom count, you could do it there. All right, we're gonna go back to this back arrow maybe. Sorry, I usually do this in the app. I don't usually do it here. Oh, no. All right, there must have been a save button that I couldn't see. So let's try it again. Draw mode. By the way, I figured out on the Google form training from last week how to set that up appropriately so that you could skip sections. So if you hang out with me at the end, I'll show you how to do that, because it was really bothering me that I couldn't figure it out. And it was as easy as I thought it should be, by the way. All right, there we go. Oh, there we go. Okay, so now let's try this little magic button. There we go. So hit the little magic button once you pick your area. All right, so this has 285 properties with an annual turnover rate of 2.8%. So if you're like, man, Amy said I needed 400 homes, so I'm gonna go back and edit it to get 400 homes. So now we're like, okay, well, where can we add? Well, we could add, so let's hit the little back and back and back. So now we're back to Marshall Road. We're just gonna continue on here along Marshall to Davis. We're gonna loop in this little section of homes right here. Cut aside this bikeway. All right, boom. Let's try that. So now I've got a bigger area. I think that'll probably add. All right, we got 388 homes. That's pretty close to 400 with an annual turnover rate of 4%. And Amy said that 4 to 6% is ideal. So now we're gonna call this the Spindrift Farm. Okay, and then you can hit save. Okay, so again, remember this is on your phone as well, so you can do both. The cool thing about that is that, so there's my farm. So right now it shows map, lead status, it would show lead status, or we can go list. So we can toggle between those two. And the cool thing about this is that on your phone, it looks like I probably need to eliminate some of these. You can pull this up on your phone as you're walking your farm. And then let's say that I go knock on 474 Aberdeen. I can click on this here. And I can click prospect on market, not interested, not home. So if I knocked on her door and she wasn't home, I could click this button here for not home. There we go. And this has been updated now. If I go into details, then it gives me a spot that I can write notes. So if I connected with this person today, I could go in and say, had great convo about current market, thinking of relocating in the next 12 months, has a dog named Jojo and a 3-year-old. There we go, right? And then we go status is prospect, property size, it's got everything in there, and then, right, so you've got all that information in there. Now, if I was walking the farm, here I could hit done. Now this is going to be updated with those details. I can always export this to a spreadsheet, or I could pull this up the next time I go to walk my farm and pull up those notes. So I could go back in here and go, here's the notes, and they're in there. So then I could just keep adding to the notes. So this allows me that the next month when I touch base with her, I could be like, hey, I know that you talked about like sometime in the next 12 months, you were in no hurry about relocating. I know you were thinking about trying to figure out what areas you were looking at relocating to. Have you put any more thought into that, right? So we can have a conversation about that. Or you can say, oh, how cute is JoJo today? She's got a little sweater on, right? So whatever it is, you can make those notes so you have them. You can scroll down here. It'll take you to the next property. If we hit the next button. Right, so now we've gone to the next one and you can just scroll through those. And if you're like, well, Amy, that's fabulous, but look at this person. This person bought this property for $23,000. Do you think that's accurate? I don't really know. It could be. Okay, so, right, so you could do that. Now, if we hit done.
Does it let you know if they're a renter or the homeowner?
It does. So as we look at this list here, we see this has a little person, and then this one has a little person with an X through it. That means they're a non-owner occupied property. So it means it's probably a tenant. So you may want to approach that property a little differently. Are we still going to knock on their door? Absolutely. Are we still going to market to them? Absolutely. But we're going to market to them knowing that they're going to be a buyer, not a seller. Right? So it's super easy way. And it's just pulling that information, just so you know, it's not always 100% accurate. It's pulling that information based on the mailing address. So if the mailing address is not the property address, it's tagging that as a non-owner occupied property. Okay. Now, the other thing that you can do is if we were in here and then let's say, well, this is 400 properties and Amy, you already told me that I should start with 100. So, if we zoom in, I don't know if you noticed, but when we zoomed out, it just had numbers there. So see, it showed like, oh, there's 388. If we zoom in a little further, this side of the neighborhood has 137, this side has 164, and over here has 87. So if you're like, oh, I think this, I'm going to start with this section over here. We can zoom in. As we zoom in further, notice it shows you like owner occupied versus non-owner occupied. So it's got little people with either the X through them or a regular person. You can draw that walk order. So if we went, let me see if I can get far enough out where it shows those little things. Or maybe, hold on, let's see if I zoom in and hit the button. Let's see if it takes them away, because that's going to be really confusing. All right, so let's try draw walk order. Oh, they're still there. That's all right. All right. So on, oops, erase. All right. All right. So let's say that there's a little like road here. So maybe I'm going to do this person and then I'm going to come this way. I don't know how we get to those inside people, but we'll just skip them for now. And then we're going to come along this way and go up this road. And then we're going to come over this, and then we're going to go, oops, then we're going to go up. Oh, okay, hold on. I thought this would be easier on your computer, but it's actually easier on the phone. All right. Think, oh, here, hold on, I got it. All right, we're going to go this way. Oops. Takes a little practice. All right, and we're going to come in here like this and around here like this. And then we're going to come back out. I think I didn't do that quite right, but that's all right. And then we're going to come over here and go this way and around the court. And then we're going to go this way and then this way. So we're just having fun with how I think I'm going to walk this neighborhood. And you'll see why here in a moment. And then we're going to come around this way. And then boom. Oh, wait. And then this way. There we go. All right. So we drew our walk order. So now once we hit this, that this is good, we hit ta-da. Now, instead of the addresses just being kind of like in numerical order by street, now it's going to put them in the order in which we're going to walk that property, that farm that day. So now if we go list, so now it's put them in order that I said I was going to walk. So it's got those Davis streets, then it goes to Kingman and then Wick. Right? So it put them in the order that I think back to those. So it's going to put them in whatever it is so that as you're going through that list, it pulls them up in order. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. I think it's pretty cool because as you're walking around doing your farm, you can have this pulled up on your phone, going to each one. When they answer the door, you can be like, hi, Mrs. Neal, how are you today? Right? Hey, and then you can introduce yourself and then you can log your notes. So were they home, not home? You can be like, oh, they weren't home. Right? You can be like, oh, this house is on the market. Just so you know, you're welcome to stop by homes that are on the market too. Might be a good way to have a conversation of, hey, how's it going? Have you had much activity? What are you expecting? Whatever it is, like have those conversations. You don't want to market them from the aspect of trying to gain their business, but maybe find out more information about their house, how it's going, and what kind of buyer might like their house. Maybe even ask if you can see it. You can't go around town just knocking on people's doors that are for sale, but if it's in part of your farm and you're knocking the whole neighborhood, it's okay to knock on their door as well and leave them materials. So right, not contacted, not interested, not home, right? So lots of different options there, prospect, lead. So you can be updating those as well as you can go into details. And you could be making notes, not home. And then you just put not home. And then we're going to move on to the next person. So you could scroll through it this way as well. Okay, does anybody have any questions about the OR Touch app for your farm?
That's fabulous. I love it.
It's fabulous and you love it. I also love it. I think it's fabulous. So anyways, so that's my favorite farm app that I like to use because it's so user-friendly and it's so intuitive. And then again, you can go in there and you can once you make all your notes on all the people, you can go in there and export it. Makes it really easy to put into your database. Makes it easy that you could have a spreadsheet so you can track them, or you could just track them in here. And then as you make contact with them, you could add those people that you've actually made contact with into your database. You can update them with phone numbers and email addresses. So if you were offering somebody something that was they either needed to register for or whatnot, you could update that information in here. So many cool things that you can do. So now if I was going into Walking Farm, I could now go into my saved farms and I could pull up that Spindrift farm. Super easy. I just go in there and access it, and then I can do it again. Start all over, draw that walk order, and do my next section of homes. Okay. If I go lead status here, so remember when we zoomed in and it showed us the little bubbles. If we started with owner occupied, which was the X's or the circles, non-owner occupied and the owner occupied. If we go lead status, this marks the ones that have been, so these were the ones that I marked as like prospect or lead or not interested or not home. So you can easily see who you've connected with and who you haven't connected with. Okay, any other questions on this one? Okay. You can also, from your farm, you can download like mailing labels, you can download all sorts of stuff. So you have lots of options inside of there. So if you're going to send out a mailer, you guys were covering up the code, but there's the code for what each dot color means. So anyways, you could, remember we want to be prospecting based and marketing enhanced. So this would allow us to then go and connect with those people one-on-one and then back up that connection with some mailers or something else going into their mailbox as well. So prospecting based would be face-to-face and marketing enhanced would be something to back that up. All right. In addition to the Walking Farm, just so you know, you can go into more. There's calculator settings to tutorials. So they've got all sorts of options in there as well. And you can search for properties. So if there's a specific property you were looking for details on, you can plug it in there and search. Okay. In addition to that, if you're like, well, that's all fine and dandy, Amy, but I don't even know what I would pass out to my farm. Another farm tool that we have is inside of our one zone, right? So we need to be able to have marketing materials. So if we go to your one login and hit login, and again, I'm just not familiar with the Placer title and the Fidelity. I know they have ways to pull those up. Also, just so you know, if you're like Amy, I'm not tech savvy, or that was way too complicated for me, but I would like to do a farm. I'm just not sure that I could handle that. You could also just contact the title rep for the company and say, hey, I want to do a farm. Here's the areas that I'm thinking of. You can either like draw it on a map or give them the streets that to include. Then they can actually go in there and pull that data for you and give you a spreadsheet with all that information. So if you're like, no tech, then they can do it for you that way. They can give you the turnover rate, the number of properties, and they can give you a list of owner occupied, non-owner occupied. So just so you know, you can do it that way as well. I don't like to ask for things, so I tend to try to, avoid them at all costs. All right. So you have the One Design Print Center right here that has lots of really cool things in it. So we'll go access that real quick so you can see what those tools are. All right. I personally, when I go to do my farm, I like postcards over like regular letters. And the reason being is that postcards are a little heavier paper than like a normal 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. They're a little heavier duty. They're easier to slide underneath somebody's, like the corner of somebody's doormat, or slide in the corner of their door so that they can see those. They don't blow away as often. And also sometimes, like if it gets a little bit of moisture on it, it doesn't get destroyed as fast as like a regular flyer does. So if we go into postcards, they have small postcards, large postcards, extra large postcards. I tend to stick with probably about like this 8 by 5.5 type postcards, like large postcards, but you could do smaller ones as well. They have just listed, just sold, coming soon, announcements. So they've got some recent sales. This might be like a good one type thing. And remember, you can change these up. But this recent sales, that's something that people want in their neighborhood. They want to know what's going on. So, hey, what's under contract? What's sold? What's active on the market? And how much is it listed for? How much did it sell for, right? So this is one good way to do that. And you could always change up the back quite a bit. So when we used to do our farm, we would put kind of recent sales on one side, and then on the back side, we would do like fun activities coming up in the area or the neighborhood, or maybe we were doing like a neighborhood garage sale, or maybe we were doing a national night out, or a blanket drive for the SPCA, or a pumpkin carving contest, whatever it might be. We would highlight that on one side and then do the market update on the other. That way people always got that market update, but then we were also bringing them some sort of other value and fun as well. This could be like a recipe. Your goal is that you want them like hanging on this card and saving your information. You want to create a lasting impression on them. So this would be one way to do it. You could select, they have like, this is a lighter color background versus the dark color. It's the same thing. It just, one has a dark strip. So you select your background. We've got the front, and then you go customize. That's going to allow you to get in there and edit it. Okay. You can also do these on Canva as well. So if you like Canva, you don't like one design, then you can you can get in there and mess with it a little bit more. So that might be one way. And then we have them, like I have them ship stuff to me all the time from Canva now, so you can do it either way. So this allows you to customize it there. If we wanted to go back into, let's go back into, because they have some more fun things in here. Let's find the more fun things. I may need to back out into the other. Let's see, back to large postcards. Home. Let's go home. Seasonal marketing. Here is the seasonal one. Right, back to school, birthday postcards, Christmas, city specific marketing, community, love where you live for Earth Day, Easter, fall back, groundhog. They've got Kwanzaa promotions and sales, 4th of July, that one's coming up. Happy New Year. They've got newsletters set up, recipes. Recipes are one of my favorite ones. I don't know why. I just think they're kind of fun. And I think I'm more likely to I think it's because I'm more likely to hang on to a recipe card than I am some of the other things. So I just think these are the best. So recipe card.
Amy, where are these?
Yeah, so these are in, I went into my one login and then I went into the One Design Creative Studio.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I was in here, I went to, here's that. And then I went to seasonal marketing.
Okay.
So seasonal marketing is where you find the more fun type postcards. Real estate related, what's your home worth, right? Spring forward, tips and advice. This one could be a cool one. There's like a tax tip one as well. So look at tips and advice. 10 rules confident people live by. Container garden. Who doesn't want to grow a container garden? Get organized. So, right. So the winter road safety checklist. Working from home, healthy habits, rules of renovation, stage your home to sell, protect your home against snow. We don't really have to worry about that in Solano County. Homeowner policy tips, right? Furniture arrangement, inviting light in, 12 kitchen, right? So there's just some really cool things. Like if somebody showed up on my door, something just wasn't like sell your house, but it was like, hey, 12 handy kitchen tools. I'd be like, oh, that's kind of cool. Let me look at that, right? Like it's just a little bit more interesting than like your typical agent brings you. 7 tools to keep in your car, 10 hiking essentials, right? So all sorts of really cool things that you can just plug and play and grab them and just have them printed and go. So keep in mind, if we're going to have a farm, we want to be a frequent area of repetitive marketing. So again, we want to be frequent and repetitive. So you want to have a plan in place. So if you're like, man, I'm going to walk my farm every second week of the month, then probably like the 3rd week of the month, you need to be putting together your materials for the coming month, right? So that we have time to edit them, to tweak them, and then to have them printed and mailed to us. So this is going to ship it to us in 5 to 15 days. You can choose a glossy. You can select the sides. Custom headline here. You can make it totally custom on the back if you're not mailing them. So there's all sorts of good stuff that you can put in here. Okay, here's all the backs. Custom headline, custom headline. Okay, make sure on all your materials that it has your name, it has your license number, and it has Realty One Group Fox on it. Okay, those are the 3 requirements. It's got to have your brokerage, your name, and your DRE number. Everything else is fair game. So you can make something really cool if you want envelopes. I wouldn't worry about it if it was my farm and I wasn't going to mail them out. And let's say that I wanted 100 of those, because I told you to start with 100. It's $45 for 100 postcards. Okay, that's nothing. That's also why I tell you to start small, so you can kind of build up some funds as you have other closings for your farm. But anyways, super easy. Your gloss coating is free. Matte coating adds 15 cents per postcard. So it's going to add, you know, a little bit of money to your total. And then you
Can I just interrupt and say
Yeah.
that if you create your own stuff on Canva, you're going to save a lot of money.
I don't disagree with you. You could even take this, you could come look on it here and see what
Yeah.
it is. You can actually download the PDF as well. And then you could edit it, but then you could put it into Canva. It is a little cheaper going through Canva on the postcards. I think I paid, well, I got 100 of the 5x, no, they're bigger than 5x7, I think. Anyways, graduation announcements was the most recent thing I ordered, and I ordered 100 of them, and I think it was like $40 for 100 of the jumbo ones with stuff on both sides. So. And then well, maybe it was less. Now I'm gonna have to look. Let's see. My email's got an error message today. Let's see, Canva invoice. Oh, no, mine was more. I got, does it say view details? See, this is cheaper than Canva for the postcards. Oh, maybe it's because I got envelopes though. Hold on, I'm just looking to see.
But if you buy your own paper and print them at the office, you can also save a lot of money.
You could, however, again, I like you can't say, so there's lots of different ways to save money, right? You could pay, like print them at the office and then you're going to pay for those color copies. You could like send them to Staples or whatever, which is probably cheaper. The nice thing about these is that they're the heavyweight postcards that are glossy coated, so they're a little bit more protected than a regular piece of paper. So there's definitely cheaper ways to print them out and have them completed. So. Oh, here's where you could put your headline and your text for over here. I think that Canva is probably a little bit more user-friendly as far as getting in there and editing and changing things up, but these are already done for you. So if you're looking for something that's plug and play, then you're good there. Let's go options. No, here, let's generate final proof. Still waiting for Canva to log in to see what size I ordered. All right, there's the final proof. So I have to acknowledge, continue. I'm just going to see what the total is with shipping for 100 of these. All right, so the total, oh, it doesn't have shipping on there yet. Oh, because I added something. I went to the matte coating, which added like $15 to them. Ship there, level of service. FedEx ground, $6 to ship them. There we go. So for 70.43, so it's like $0.70 a postcard. So what is it to print something at the office? Adriana, it's like 25 cents a color copy, right?
Yeah.
I think so, yes.
So it's for a regular piece of paper is 50 cents if you're going to do both sides of a regular piece of paper. So for an extra 20 cents per postcard, you get a glossy, heavier duty finish. So it's totally, and that includes the shipping. So it totally is up to you on what you want to do. But this, for 70 cents a postcard, that's not too bad to have them printed in here. And then I'm not sure what it is through Canva, but it's similar to that. So just kind of keep that in mind. You got some options there. But these, again, these are one of the plug and play options, which is kind of fun. And there's lots of fun things in there. So as far as farm tools, anybody have any other questions about farm tools, whether it's the OR Touch, whether it's the design type thing, or you've heard of other options and things that you were thinking about using and you have questions about those as well? No, everybody's good. All right, Canva, since we've got some time, I'll log into Canva. Maybe if it doesn't yell at me. Canva, hopefully I'll have better success here than I did on my phone. Canva's got cool designs too. So they've got probably some plug and play type stuff in here that you could implement in. And then let's look at what their costs are. Mhm. All right, so let's say that I want a recipe postcard. Let's see what we got. No results. Oh, there. So on Canva, just so everybody knows how it works, you've got like your base Canva, which is free, and then you have to pay for things as well if you want to upgrade. So like this Happy Holidays one is free, where this Happy Father's Day has a little crown down here in the bottom right-hand corner, and that means it's a pro version, so you would need to pay for that. And you can either, I think you can, they used to let you piece it together, but you probably have to pay for the prescription or pro subscription. So I actually pay for the pro subscription. This is one thing that is worthwhile to me for the pro. One of the reasons for that is with pro, I can set up my brand templates, which allows me, well, I can go brand kit. Oh, let's go back to brand. There we go. So it allows me to set up the brand kit with my logos get saved in there, as well as your colors and your text. If you have any text, like the fonts, like text, what's that called? So you've got logos, colors, fonts, photos, graphics. So your headshots and stuff you can save in there. So I've got several companies, so I've got each one saved differently. So it just is a really easy way to grab it and throw it in there. So let's go back. So that's and then the pro gives you can use anything inside of Canva without getting charged for it. So this is where we do like all of our social media posts and stuff, but you can also go print products. Here, if we wanted like marketing, so I just clicked print products and then marketing. And then if I wanted postcards, just wait for it to load. Here, over here on design is where you select your different options. So like, here's your templates. So maybe we want we're gonna wait for it to load. Are you looking for a real estate agent, right? Birth announcements, and then you can sort them up this way, or you could search for them. So, here, maybe we wanted a Memorial Day postcard. Here's your Memorial Day postcards. You can click that in and add it in there, and then you can edit up. So it's going to add that in, and then any part of that postcard you can edit. So if you like the format, but you don't like the pictures, then you can change out the photos. So if you're like, man, I like this, but that flag photo's hurting me, then you can go to elements. We can search elements for flag. And then we can go photos. And then maybe you're like, let's see here. Let's find one that I like. Oh, I kind of like this. Oh, I like this one better. It's totally my style right there. So I just drag it over and over that other photo. And then oh, hold on. Everything's moving slower because I'm on Zoom. There we go. Come on, you can do it. I believe in you. There we go. So see, now it put the photo on there instead. So I just replaced it. You can come in here, you can change the fonts up. So if you're like, oh, I don't really care for that, you've got lots of fonts. So remember again, so like, because I've got my brand, I can come in here and select from the brand and select the fonts for that brand. It saves those for me. So I can be like, oh, well, that needs to be that font. so that all my fonts are the same in every postcard that I use, right? And then you can go to print postcards. If you wanted a back, you would add a second page to it and then add the back to it. Quality postcards delivered to your doorstep. Let's go. Oh, hold on. Let me add a backside to it real quick so that we can compare apples to apples with a front and a back. And then I can come up to templates, right? We're just gonna, oh, now let's go. There we go. Thanks. All right, now we're gonna go print because we have 2 pages. Page 1, page 2, what size? Small is 5.5 by 4.5, or large is 7 by 5. So I want 5 by 7. You can choose premium paper, deluxe paper, hemp paper. So we're just gonna go premium. And then do you want matte, glossy, uncoated? And then for 100 postcards, it's $47. So it's still pretty close to the other one. Let's see subtotal here. Oh, I don't want envelopes. And then we're going to hit continue. This one you get free delivery. The other one was delivery was $6. So there you go. So you can do it that way as well. You'd add to your cart, check out. You can download the PDF. Any questions about Canva?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All of them are pretty easy. All of them allow you to save them, whether you're inside Express Docs, you can save that template as yours. So you can just update it next time. You can do the same thing here. We could come in here and save this one. You just come up to file. So this would be like farm monthly update. Maybe if that had the housing information on it. I don't think I hit save. There we go. Now that would be called there. So when I go home, just waiting for it to load. It's going to give me a button that says my projects or projects. So if I go in the projects, and you can even categorize them in full and put them in folders there. So there's my farm monthly update. So then like the next month I could just pull it up and do it. So like, for instance, we have social media posts that go out with the weekly numbers. So Abby can just come in here and pull this up on a weekly basis and update the city numbers. And it's really super simple to do. And you can do the same thing inside of One Design as well. Okay, so it makes it really easy just to plug and play and roll with it. So just remember that you want to make sure that you plan for your farm, so you have a system and process in place, and that if you need to, if you're going to walk it each month, right, that we set up time to create whatever material it is that we're going to bring with us in advance, so that we're set up for success when it comes time to go walk our farm again. I do recommend doing it systematically. And that's also why I recommend doing like 100 homes at a time, is that it allows you to, you know, if you started with 100 homes and you're like, man, that takes me like 4 hours to walk 100 homes, and that's easy to do in a day. And then you're going to add 200 homes. Then you have to decide, well, am I doing it all in the same week, or am I going to do 100 homes a week? Right. So I take and add a second week into my farm. Are we going to do it the same week, just the next day? So you've got to decide kind of what that looks like. And I do recommend putting that on your calendar ahead of time so that you're consistent in that. You want to create marketing material for farm on your calendar, and then also when you're going to walk your farm, because that's your form of lead gen for the day. So you want to make sure you protect that time and have it on your calendar. Inside of Express Docs, you can do this as well. So it's going to be in there as well. Right. So I could go back in here to my orders. Anything that you pulled up, you could hit edit. And you could customize it again, so you can pull it back up and use your past order history to create the new ones. Any other questions about your farm and the tools that you have available to you?
No.
All right. As a little side note then, I'm going to pull that form up that we were making last week when I showed you how to use the Google Forms. And I'll show you how to skip sections, because I was telling you that in my MLS entry, it's set up so like if they say they have a pool, it skips to a pool section. And if they don't have a pool, it just skips the pool section. So my trick was that, number one, you have to add sections. So like your top, each section until you have a break would be a section. To add a section, we would just come down here. Let's go here. You click the little button down here at the bottom with the two lines that say add section, which is going to create another section. And then if we wanted to add a question to that section, we would just do this. What color is water? And then you would have options like clear or blue, or maybe green. Okay. Oh, it didn't take my in. How dare it? All right, there we go. So if we wanted it to be able to skip to a different section, then what we would do is down here on these three dots where it says more options. Number one, the question has to be required. And then number two, you would go to section based on answer. And we click that. Now see, it gives me more options up here next to each one. If they answer clear, then they're going to go to section 1. And if they answer blue, then they can go to section 2. And if they were to answer 3, then they would go to section 3, right? So, or green, they would go to section 3. So it might be like, hey, do you have solar? And the first answer may be yes. Now let's make the first answer no. And then the second answer may be yes, owned solar, no loan. And then maybe your next option would be yes, it's yes, but I don't own it, right? And then they might go to a different section based on their answer. If their answer was no, we're just going to skip that solar section altogether. So we would just move on to the next section. If they were, and you could just hit continue to next section for that one. If you created a section that was for own solar, right? Perfect. Do you have a copy of your PG&E bill? Do you have a copy of your last true up bill? Right. So you could ask them questions like that. And if they have solar, but they don't own it, great. Is it a power purchase agreement? Is it leased? What's your monthly payment on it? Right. And then you could ask those other questions. So you might ask different questions depending on that. So that's how you would skip sections. You would create different sections. So then I could come down here and create a new section. And I could call this section owned solar. And then the questions that I put in this section would be if they answered this, and then we would mark this one that they're going to go to section 4, owned solar, if they select this answer. So that's how you skip sections inside of Google Forms. It's super simple, set up really easily to use. So I like that one as well. So like on my MLS entry form, there was a pool section, there's a fireplace section, there's a solar section, there's a I don't remember, but there's several different sections they can skip between, and that's how you set that up, is that you have to make it, if it's a short answer question, number one, if it's like this, a scale, you can't skip this one and go on to and have it skip to a section, or if it's a short answer, it also you can't skip. So it has to be one where they have like options to select from. That's the type of question you need in order to be able to skip sections. Any questions on that Google form?
No.
All right. it was really bothering me after our training last week that I couldn't figure out how to do it. So I sat here, figured it out, and then thought I'd show you guys today. So there you go, your farm, how to use the ORTC tools. If you don't have a login yet, reach out to your rep to get access to that. Your local rep, you can just reach out to the local office and say, hey, who's our rep for the area? I was talking with Amy and she said you guys are fabulous and that I need your farming tools, so help me out. You can also, again, call your your any title rep and ask them for a list, give them the area that you're thinking about farming. They'll give you a count of homes and you can get the turnover rate. So just ask them for those two things. And then you've got lots of options for design. You can go into One Design, which is our free tool, and you can either print those in the office like Adriana recommended, or you can have them printed for you. Again, those run, on mine, it had the upgrade of like, it was like $15 because I added a matte finish. So it was really closer to, with printing and everything, it was really closer to $55. So it runs about 50 cents a postcard, including shipping, which is the same as it would take you to print both sides. So it's probably good to there, or you can use Canva to design really cool, catchy things. The thing that I like about One Design, obviously, is that they have pre-designed templates already set up in there, so it makes it really easy to plug and play. And then walked you through Google Forms on how to skip sections to add on to our training from last week. So there you go. Abby, I'm sure, is going to post in the chat box the link for attendance. And then we'll be back tomorrow at 9 a.m. Tomorrow at 9. And I was trying to think what tomorrow's training was. And it is, oh, we're gonna go over scripts tomorrow. So we'll talk about conversations in real estate is what we're gonna call that. And we'll talk about some fun scripts, how to memorize them, how to commit them to memory, and some best practices. And I'll probably hand pick a couple scripts. I may make them farm related since we talked about farm items today. So I may make them like door knocking type scripts. But we'll have that tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Same link. Have a fabulous day. And if anybody needs anything, feel free to reach out.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Absolutely. Have a great evening.